Today we get basketball, reports from Vegas, some news from Orlando, also what to look for in our rookie Kevin Murphy, the Raja failure close to an end. What's next for the Jazz? Dwight and Ray Allen have new teams and superpowers exist. It's all coming up next on a Monday morning edition of Tip Off. Boom, 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 boom. Basketball today. Boom, 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 boom. Don't overvalue Summer League too much, but it's kind of cool that we get to watch a team. Boom, 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 boom. Big guys always get screwed in Summer League. Boom, 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 boom. I gotta do one thing. For those of you on YouTube, I just got up and left. For those of you on the audio version, thank you. How's everybody doing? Hey, I want to share something right out of the shoot. Friday afternoon, we did a retreat for the broadcast crew. It was awesome. We were up at Red Ledges. It was really nice. I work with some pretty fabulous people, which makes it cool. And there was actually a moment in that event where we were just talking about different things and kind of some of the balancing acts we do as broadcasters. And one of the guys, Travis Henderson, who's the director and producer of the TV broadcast, he's really very well nationally known as well, said, you know, at some point you just got to let fans be fans, and that's the whole point, you know, of that passion-filled reaction to fan. That's the whole point of being a fan, and you have to allow that. It was a very basic comment. And for me, for whatever reason, I just wrote it down a huge piece of paper. It just kind of clicked across to me. So maybe an apology, or I just think that it was just I heard that and I was like, you know, that's right. And I haven't always done that. That I haven't always done the best job of sometimes when fan emotion or reaction gets absurdity, at least what I view as absurdity, I get very kind of bent. And you know, it's really the whole point is to allow that kind of that absurdity to some extent is being a fan. There's other, you know, fans are very deep and analytical and react in this and that. But I thought, I don't know, I just thought it was kind of a transcendent comment that hit me, and I thought I'd share it with you. All right, I just totally shouldn't share this with you, but it's bugging me so bad. So last night, in the middle of the night, I rolled over. I don't actually know what happened. I'm asleep. And my wife, who was also asleep, poked me in the eye, like unbelievably hard, and kept me up for like 30 minutes afterwards. And it just is killing me this morning. And it's making it very hard to talk, actually, which is catastrophic for me. Hell with the eye, I can't talk. So anyway, if I seem kind of off kilter, that's why. All right. Not a lot of reports coming out of that Olympic team practice and what's going on. I did go back and forth with Gordon yesterday on a text, and I just wanted, I hope he doesn't mind, I just thought this was so classic, I was going to share it. And the word I heard is he had a pretty good game yesterday. So, and I was bugging him about the fact that he tweeted about tennis, and he said about his his performance. He texted me back, yeah, but we lost. So Gordon Hayward is upset that his select team lost to the Olympic team. Derek Favors was quoted this week as kind of being mad. It's like we're junior varsity, kind of with a tone to it. But I love that. Like, Gordon is in Vegas with a team that is basically the Washington Generals playing the Olympic team, and he's pissed that they lost. Pretty funny. I don't have a lot of reports on how they've played. Some of those that I do, I kind of have to keep just because I think it's supposed to be really private. The one thing I did hear earlier is they're both are actually physically a little bigger. That the youth of being 20, 21 years old on both these kids has meant that both Derek and Gordon have gotten a little stronger. Today we get Orlando basketball for the first time in Summer League. And, I think this is really interesting to watch. You're going to see Burks with the ball in his hands. Burks beating guys, getting to the rim, and finishing, to me, is irrelevant. Because I know he can beat guys, and getting to the rim and finishing, I need to see it against NBA guys, not against Summer League guys. Burks hitting outside jump shots is relevant. Burks playing inside of a team concept and not forcing the game and not reverting back to I'm the best player on the floor, I'm just going to go every time like he did a little bit in college, I think is relevant. And any mid-range game would be nice to see. On the defensive end, I just see him defend. He did at times last year, and other times he looked pretty awful. For Kanter, something offensively other than the up and under Kanter, and using his jumper more. He's actually got a pretty good pick and pop game, and he just didn't feel comfortable using it and showing it. So I'd like to see that, and then I'd like to just see some post move, as I said, other than the up and under Kanter. Kevin Murphy video finally will get out today. Sorry. Probably around 9:30 or so. I'll have it for you. He's interesting. I mean, you watch the video of him against West. I watched the West Virginia and the Murray State games, and in West Virginia, he's terrible. He misses everything. But you can see why they drafted him. He's a second-round draft pick. I mean, he misses a bunch. If he did everything well, he'd be a first-round draft pick. There's some things about him that are interesting. He has the ball in his hands a great deal more than I anticipated. And in that sense, I actually tweeted out late last night that he kind of almost reminded me of Jimmer's college role a little bit, just because of the way in which he has the ball in his hands or comes off the baseline getting free to get the ball. That the offense revolves around him. Reminds me a little bit of Flip Murray, who played in the NBA for a while. He really is a jump shooter. And I think it's going to be interesting to see. He's a very rhythmic jump shooter. When he gets hot, he got hot against Murray State. It was unbelievable. But I don't know how he's ever going to get that hot in the pro game when he isn't able to get that many looks and be on the floor that much. Somewhat similar to Jimmer, I think he's going to have a hard time in the pro game because he's so used to having the ball in his hands, so much used to going one-on-one. And then suddenly, I don't think that game exists for him in the NBA. That was the other parallel. But I was surprised about a few things. One is how much he has the ball in his hands. Like, he really, frankly, as much as we talk about Burks playing a point, I think this kid could handle the ball a little bit in that realm as well. At 6'6", I think that might be hard for him, but it's in there. The other angle I would talk about is he's great at getting open. He's almost never off a pick. He's just able to get a step off guys and get himself free to get the basketball. And they didn't do a lot of picking to get him free. He's also a much better passer than I would have anticipated. He's really quite good passing the basketball. So I was, you'll see the video. I'll get it up. He's not going to like, oh my gosh, we have a star. But you can see why the Jazz were willing to use him for 47 and why they think he might be able to play in the NBA. When he gets a roll and he's getting shots off in traffic, high jumpers, and it's impressive. All right, to the current roster, we've kind of known this was coming. Raja, we all thought Raja would probably amnesty, but it sounds as though Salt Lake Tribune's reporting it's going to be a buyout, and it makes a lot of sense because if they amnesty Raja, then Raja goes into what's called the secondary waivers. And in the secondary waivers, Raja can't choose his team. Every team that's under the cap could bid on him. Someone might decide he wants him. Raja doesn't want to go there. And so Raja ends up forced to go to that team. The Jazz, Raja will make about $1 million next year as the veteran minimum. So the Jazz will owe Raja his salary, which is, I guess, 3.4 minus the $1 million he gets from somebody else, so it'll be 2.4. So at this point, the Jazz walk in, and if Raja suddenly is willing to take anything less than 2.4, the Jazz save money. And if for some reason Raja doesn't make a team and gets cut, the Jazz could be up to as high as 3.4 next year. So any number that's under that 2.4 that Raja is willing to take, in whatever that number is the amount of money Raj is willing to let go in order to pick his own team next. is worth it for the Jazz to do, and it's also worth it for Raja to do. I mean, Raja somewhat dictates this. That all right, I'm willing to take $2 million as a buyout, and then I get to go choose whether I go to Lakers or Miami. And Raja goes and does that, and then the Jazz save themselves $500,000. And it still will count against the Jazz salary cap, but that's irrelevant because the Jazz aren't going over the luxury tax and they're not going under the cap this year. So it's not a number that impacts them in any way, shape, or form. Real money is a much more important concept. So the Raja experiment number 2 comes to an end. I would say he was disappointment, both with the way he dealt with some things and his play. He had a tough year coming off his limited time, and then last year when he actually played well, he got all he got all fired up and kind of disturbed that. What's next for the Jazz? The landscape is now set for the Jazz to be able to discuss a extension with Paul Millsap. And everything that I've been led to believe or heard is that the desire is for Paul to be a part of this organization. And I think there's a really important concept here that if you can get Paul to agree to an extension, then if he comes off the bench, it's probably an easier environment for everybody and makes a lot of sense. Brandon Bass, who's a really similar player to Paul in a lot of ways, just signed a 3-year, $20 million deal at around 7. Jason Thompson, who's a similar player, Paul's probably better, signed at 6. Ilyasova, who is probably similar, might be better, though I think is at, 540. So the market's really pretty well set for where Paul is. David West is as we've talked about before, is the high end of this market at $10 million a year ago, but he only for 2 years. Ilyasova stretches it out, I believe, for a 5-year deal at I think they're talking about $40 million. So my guess would be that you end up somewhere in the 432 to 35 range, as somewhere in that negotiation that gets the deal done and makes it so that everybody is happy. And I think that's a strong move for the Jazz. And then I wouldn't even be surprised if the Jazz didn't do some funny things with it, where the Jazz front-loaded it, where maybe he makes more early because both Kanter and Favors are low money guys right now, and so therefore you can you can work on that. So you can work under the salary cap in that way. So I think that market's pretty well set in a lot of ways. Sorry, wow, this is killing me. Finally, thing going on around the league today is going to be the gosh, this whole thing just feels terrible. I feel like I should stop and re-record today. The Dwight Howard deal is close. Am I going to stop and re-record? Should I stop and re-record this? I feel like this isn't good enough. I don't have time. If I stop and re-record it, see, this is my inner brain right now. I'm like doing a Jim Gaffigan. If I stop and re-record this, I got to wake up the kids, get my daughter to soccer. I come back, I record at 9:30. Nope, we're going to keep going. All right, my apologies. I don't think today's has been as good as it should be. Dwight Howard deal is supposedly getting close. If that's the case, New Jersey is a power. They have Joe Johnson. They have Dwight Howard. They have Darren Williams. They have Gerald Wallace, and they really have nothing else. But they're pretty darn good, and Darren was right. And Ray Allen to Miami is a huge move. I don't think they'll ask a lot out of him, and I think he will be fabulous on that team. And he is one who remembers being slighted, and he clearly feels he was slighted by being benched by Avery Bradley, as well as just some of the ways he was treated and almost traded last year, and it doesn't shock me at all that he's moved on. All right, my apologies. I don't think today was as good as it needs to be. Possible I'll re-record at some point, but I'm going to get it up, have it there for you. There's a lot to chew on, and hopefully we will do a better job for you tomorrow. Orlando Summer League, NBA TV, 1 o'clock. See ya.